Catch the Catch podcast on this special Thanksgiving Friday. This is the Friday after Thanksgiving.
Right.
Oh.
So
did not know that.
I hope you had a blessed dinner with your family and your friends. But we're gonna talk about some Thanksgiving on today. So just to start it off, like, what does it mean to be thankful? Or how would you define thankfulness? I always like to just start with definitions because it allows us to get a firm foundation on what we're talking about. So, anybody, like, you can look it up, There's no problem with looking it up. Be thankful for the dictionary.
Yeah, thankful for the dictionary, obviously. I think thankfulness is, like, in its entirety, I think it has a lot to do with understanding and having the self-awareness of what I have right now, I don't have to have. And not only do I not have to have it, but there are people in the world that don't.
Yeah.
So I think Thanksgiving and thankfulness is the ability to take a step back and think, wow, this is all these things that I have that I don't technically deserve. These people, these friends, this family, my life, like, to be thankful in its essence is to be self-aware of all the things that you have. So that's just kind of what I think.
I'm going to piggyback off of what Vinny said. I really think it's really just an expression of appreciation towards the things that we can see and the things that we cannot see, right? We can have an expression of thankfulness or gratitude for not only the things that have happened in the past, but for things that will happen in the future, especially being in our Christian faith. So I really do believe, like what Vinny was saying, like, it's just to be thankful for your friends and your family and everyone of those that are around you. So, yeah.
So what do you think is some factors that can hinder thankfulness? Like, what could stop a man or a woman from being thankful for anything? What do you think, what factors play a part in that?
Well, I think a number one factor, I'm thinking about the story of the children of Israel and they're murmuring, they're complaining. I feel like those are two things that can come against thankfulness. Yeah. When you're always thinking about your situation and the negative side of everything, when you're looking at your circumstances and you're not finding the joy or the peace that you can find in it, that God can bring you through your circumstances or your situation, I feel like just complaining and murmuring and not remembering all that God did for you. Like, the children of Israel have to remember, like, and even, I think they even got to a point where they were like, man, things were better in Egypt. Yeah. Like, what the heck are y'all talking about? What in the world are y'all talking about? What do you mean it was better than in Egypt than right now? Like, God has delivered you. God has set you free from where you were in bondage. Yeah. And you're saying it's better to go back to that? Like, come on now. Yeah. Like, come on. But I think with that, you have to remember, remember the former days, right? Yeah. Remember all that God has done for you. Like, remember all the blessings that you have encountered in your life. Remember all the miracles. Remember, like, everything that God has done for us. So I think those factors can really hinder thankfulness. But what can help thankfulness is really remembering what God has done for us.
Yeah. I would definitely, I kind of think of it from a different slant, but it definitely leads into what you're saying. I think the biggest factor against thankfulness will have to be distractions. I think because a lot of times when we don't take time to think about our surroundings and being like, wow, like, this may be happening right now, but the sun is still up. Like, I still have breath in my body. And even with the children of Israel, they were so distracted by the situations they were seeing right in front of them that they couldn't see the bigger picture. Yeah. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people. They're so distracted with oh, well, this is happening right now. This is happening right now. This is happening right now, that they don't understand that these are the small foxes that you're seeing, but you're not even seeing the big field that's around you. Yeah. So I think it's really distractions.
Nice. I love both of those answers. And I know, kind of piggybacking off of what Taylor said, and how to focus on those little small things and be thankful for those. It brought up the scripture from Romans, I think it's 5:3, where Paul talks about you glory in your tribulation.
Yeah.
Where you're pretty much thankful. That's what I learned from it. Like, you're thankful for your tribulations. What would you say about that? Like, how do you be thankful in your tribulations or glory in your tribulations?
Well, I think, I want to make sure I get the right reference. I think it's in James, and he's saying, brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations.
Yeah.
So I feel like with that, you got to count it all joy. Like, just like the scriptures say, like every time you try to think about something that is negative or something that is negative within the affliction, find something positive, right? You might see, man, this is painful. Like, man, what I'm going through, this breakthrough that I'm trying to get through is painful. But I know that there's glory that comes after the pain.
Yeah.
And so when you look at the results of when you go through tribulations, when you go through afflictions, you're able to be like, okay, God, you made me to go through this. Because right now, when we think about the natural example of like a mother going through birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
When she's in that process, it's painful.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But right when the child comes forth, right? The mother instantly, all the pain that she went through went away. Once she saw that baby, once she saw it come out, like tears of joy starts like coming out of her eyes, right? Because she's seen that all that she went through just to see life form within itself, all this stuff that she went through in these 9 months. Then for the results of life happening right before her eyes that her and her husband did, like, you know what I'm saying? Like those things is just so beautiful about life. Like, right? We look at that and we're like, man, God is really a creator. Like he knew what he was doing when he made this process, and it almost brings joy in your
afflictions.
Joy in your affliction. So that's what I would say.
Oh, do I have to say something?
I was
like, because I feel like Taylor nailed it. But yeah, I feel like it's always just remembering that, you know, a situation is bad, but it's definitely not as bad as it could be. Like, I feel like that's what really gets me through a lot. It's like, man, I wish this wasn't happening right now, but something so much worse can be happening to me. Like, I don't like where I'm living, where at least I got a house. Like, it's like, and that is the thing about it. It's like, you can find thankfulness in things once you stop seeing the downside of it all the time. When you're always like, this is wrong and this is wrong and that's wrong. Of course, it's going to be hard for you to be thankful because it's like all you're seeing is the gloominess. You're not even seeing the brightness around you.
You kind of have to change your mindset.
Right.
In order to be thankful. So when it comes to that and other people, like, is it possible for you to make someone else more thankful, or that is self-decision?
Okay.
Like,
say it one more time.
Like, I don't know how to describe it, but the question came to mind. Like, are you able to make someone more thankful for what they have or what you both have or whatever? Or can that, when it comes to thankfulness, can it only be subjective in your own mind and stuff like that? Like, are you able to persuade somebody to be more thankful?
I feel like, yeah, you can. Like, you can definitely persuade someone to be thankful. Like, I know there has been times in my life where I could be down in the dumps. Like, I could be like, man, I really don't want to see the light of day right now. But then you see what other people are going through that may be going through something that is worse. And then you see how many times they still get back up. They still, like, go at it. They still have a smile on their face. And it's like, man, why don't I do that? Like, and then it almost like them leading by example in their thankfulness and their joy through their afflictions and their tribulations, it gives you joy because it's like, man, if they're able to go through this, I can do it too.
Right.
And so I think with that, it's like, you will want to get out of the test, right? When we don't have joy in our tribulations, God is just going to keep playing over the same test over and over and over and over again. And then it's like, God, I don't want to keep taking this.
Right.
And he's like, well, find some joy in it then.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, God, let me find joy in this situation. So I feel like, yes, someone can persuade you to have joy in your situation. Like Paul in the Bible, when we look at all the things that he had to endure for the name of Christ, like, I'm like, man, Paul, I can't say nothing.
Right.
So I'm like, yes, I have to find joy in it. Like, what else is there to do?
Another example I would use is Job. Like,
Job.
like,
Definitely.
Anything that I go through in life, it cannot compare to what my man Job went through.
Yeah.
But you got something?
I think I would say, of course, agreeing totally with what Taylor had said. I think it also it's easy for someone to be thankful when you give them something new to be thankful about.
Yeah.
And I feel like as Christians, kindness has to be your first initiative. I think like you don't even know what people are going through, but to be able to be kind to someone, to show them the love of Christ, that gives them something completely new to be thankful about. So I think I would take it from that slant. I think kindness.
Nice. In terms of kindness, what happens when someone is not kind to you or they're not thankful for you as a person in their life? How do you deal with that? Like, you may give them presents, you may do this, you may help them with their homework at college or whatever, but they never seem thankful. How do you deal with that? Personally, or not personally.
Go ahead, because I'm trying to find this verse, and it came to mind once he said that, but go ahead.
Okay. I would say that, number one, of course, it definitely depends on the person. But I think when you think of the children of Israel, and when you think of the position that they took of always being down in the dumps, and you're like, man, how do you as a person, you're leading a people, right? You're leading this massive people, and they're constantly complaining. You're like, man, how can I get through this and not also doubt God? Yeah. And I think it's the realization that what I'm going through and the way I perceive things is always going to be different from the way they perceive things. Yeah. We are in the exact same situation, but I'm choosing joy. And I think as Christians, that's something that you constantly have to do when you're around people, especially when you're around more negative people. It's the idea that we can be going through the same thing, we can have the same problems, but I have to continuously choose joy, because being thankful is a choice that you have to make. Yeah. While you can persuade people, of course, but if they don't choose it, that doesn't mean you get to give up on it. True. So that's where my mind is at.
Yes.
Did you find the scripture yet?
I'm looking for one word and it's not popping out. Like, where is it? I know it's in 1 John. And it's in that chapter where it's like talking about like how can you love God that you cannot see, and love your brother who you can see.
Love not your
brother that you can see. It was one word, and I think where is it? Okay,
I'll talk to give you.
Yes, give me time.
The beauty about thankfulness, like, I don't know, for me, I want to say for me. But one thing that scares me with thankfulness is, I don't know, I feel like it can get in such of a routine. Yeah. Where it's like, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank right, you. Yeah. You're saying it because you know you're supposed to.
Thank you. You just see it as manners, right, and not as action that can help somebody. Like, you don't know how much a thank you can actually mean. When you say it with your full heart, when you say it with a smile on your face, you don't know how much, like, when I do stuff for some people, a thank you means a lot.
Yeah.
It keeps me going. You don't know what I've been thinking the past week and how I maybe did not want to be there. But you said thank you, maybe slide a little cash my way. Thank you.
Thank you for real.
Thank you for real. And you can make my day, and now I can go help somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I did find it.
I was gonna say, I was looking. It was like 1 John 4:20, I think.
Yeah, but I was looking in the wrong chapter. Oh. It was in 1 John 3.
Oh,
that's when I
switching it up.
And it says, well, to answer your question first, I would say kill him with kindness. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how do you kill him with kindness? Like, what are you supposed to do? So, right, I think I was reading this verse like last week, and it kind of convicted me because I was like, man, I feel like I love people enough, Yeah. But I think it was this scripture that kind of like stood out to me the most. And I was like, ooh, I need to do a little bit better than that. And it says, my little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth.
Yeah.
And hereby we know that we are of the truth and shall assure our hearts before him. And so for me, I think it's, a lot of times as individuals, we can love, like the word says, in words. Mm-hmm. We can love in our tongue, what we say to people. Like, it's so easy to say, I love you. But if I don't show the actions behind when I'm saying I love you, it's null and void, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, when you do things for people, you're not doing it for them to assure you, but for God to assure you. And just to know that you had did the right thing, right? Because that's what it says in the last verse, right? And hereby we know that we are of the truth, right? I don't have to say, I loved you, and then my actions didn't show of the truth, right? And so, and my heart is now assured in the fact that I did what was right without a response, right? I did what I was supposed to do without a person giving me a gift back or a person reciprocating how I wanted them to reciprocate back. My assurance shouldn't be in your response. My assurance should be in Almighty God.
That's kind of,
sorry, I just wanted to, it kind of, it doesn't stray away from the topic, but it's definitely on it still. But just in you talking about love being an action, I started to think about what thankfulness would have been then. Because if love is the action, you have to realize that makes thankfulness the reaction. So if we live in a world that is filled, if we live in a world that is filled with God's love, there should never be a time when we lack thankfulness. Because the world itself is God's action of love. So every day you should find a new reaction of thankfulness. And I think that's what a lot of people miss. They're like, I have nothing to be thankful for. Did you try? Did you look? Like there's so many things to be thankful for. And I think we just miss that time and time again.
Yeah, because our lady used to always make us write down like 10 things to be thankful for, especially in this season, I think. She might say it next Sunday. And that's why I had another question about that, because it seems like we can be thankful towards anybody else but God.
Yeah.
Like, so how do we deal with that? Like, why are people that way, where they're only thankful to people that they can see and not to the creator of all things?
Because I feel like,
go ahead. No, go ahead. I can wait.
I was about to say, because that form of thankfulness takes a certain amount of faith, right? Faith is the evidence of things hoped for and the things not seen, right? So it takes a certain amount of faith to thank God, who you cannot see, right? Because it's like, we can breathe this air, we can see the trees, and people can see the sky that is blue. People can see the sun that's up there and standing still for like, I don't know how many years, right? We can see all these things, and yet we credit science more than we credit God. And so in order to like really thank God, it really takes a certain amount of faith, right? Because it's like, you would think every time you drive to work in the morning, every time you drive to the college, you think that's you, when no, in actuality, that's God's protection over you. And so it takes a certain amount of, right, like seeing the little details, of course, but then also at the same token, it takes a certain amount of faith to realize like, this life that you're living is not because of you. It's not because of like a big bang. It's not because of what man has predicted that will happen, but it's because God made it happen.
Right.
And so because of that, I think that form of thankfulness takes a lot of faith.
Yeah. I would say that I was thinking about it, and I thought about the phrase that, I don't know if you guys' parents have ever said it, but my mom has said it before. And it's like when you do good in school and you're like, oh, I don't get like a reward or a prize for that. And then they're like, that's something you're supposed to do.
Right.
And then like everybody was saying that. And then when like Mother's Day comes around, they're like, oh, why would I give you a gift if that's what you're supposed to do? But it's like, I think that is how a lot of people see God. They see him like that. They're like, why would I thank God if that's what he's supposed to do? Wrong. God doesn't have to do that. And I think it's a lot. It's the exact same with your parents. Like, I didn't have to do that for you. I didn't have to be there for you. And the same way with me. I didn't have to get good grades. So it's like, I feel like people miss that part with God. They think because he is all knowing and he created everything and he is our father, that they're like, well, this is just what he's supposed to do for me. And that's never been the plan. It was this was never what you deserved. It was always given to you freely. So I think that's the reason why.
That's true. And we will still give our mothers.
Of course.
Yes,
of
absolutely.
course.
While we're on that, I also want to clarify, I don't do stuff just for money. You know, I go into something not expecting anything in return.
Right.
A thank you through your words is fine enough. But as Taylor said, you know, through your deeds, it means a little bit more. But speaking on being thankful to God, can we define, like, what is praise and worship really? I know this may be a little shifting topic, but kind of not. Like, how would you define praise and worship? And is it subjective or objective?
Taylor.
Taylor.
I mean,
Yeah,
you're the praiser.
You ministered through it.
You minister in praise.
Now, y'all.
You go forward.
Y'all. Come on now.
You can give them a showcase right now.
No.
I'll get in worship mode. Jesus.
No.
Jesus.
You know, that's so funny because I actually read that this morning, John 4.
See, we flowing.
Worship in spirit and in truth.
Talk about it. Or sing about it.
I think Shalom has said it like, we don't worship in what is true. We worship in what is truth. Right? But praise and worship, a lot of times people think it's singing, it's well, it is singing,
Yeah.
but like
they would be right.
yeah, but it's like it's more than that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, from what we've been taught, it's a lifestyle, right? It's what you do to give honor and to give glory and reverence to God, like on a consistent basis. So, like, praise and worship can be in like various forms of music, whether that's slow, whether it's fast, whether it's mid-tempo, right? It's praise and worship. I guess starting from that point. But I feel like once we went to like the Beyond conference, like my whole perspective on it changed because it was like you always view it as like singing and I guess just singing in musical form, but it was more so like lifestyle, right? Like when a lot of times when the Levites would have to like do sacrifices, they would call people to sing during those sacrifices. And every time the sacrifice would end, they would stop singing. So like the way that praise and worship ministers, I guess it brings about a certain fragrance to God to where it makes him want to dwell in us, right?
Yeah.
And he wants to dwell in us and he wants to be in a place where he can smell the fragrance of people that love him, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's a showcase of thankfulness.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think that, and now this is a kind of a hot take here.
Ooh, yeah.
But I feel like as a person who was not gifted in the art of singing,
now you got a little something. You got a little something.
no, because singing is not my ministry.
Sing.
No, because singing is not my ministry. I feel like it has allowed my praise and worship to mean just a teeny bit more.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like when a person who is called to sing has to go forth, like of course, like they're singing to kind of like praise for everyone. Of course, like everyone's praising too, but it's like their praise is going up high. But when it's just me and God, like it's personal. It's me and him, and I'm praising him for me by myself.
Yes.
And I think that is kind of why I really do enjoy praise and worship. And everybody's always like, oh, I wish I could sing. I wish I could sing. I'm glad I can't sing because that means me and God got a real close. He's the only one that knows what this praise sounds like. So I just. Why are you looking
Like, what?
I relate.
Listen.
It's real personal.
Right.
I don't
Voice
gotta,
be cracking.
I don't gotta worry
And
about
I don't
nobody.
care.
Don't gotta sound good. Tears be falling. Don't worry
Right.
about an ugly cry.
Because
And he
nobody can
respects
see
it
it.
all.
Right. He loves it all. It's okay.
It's
That's
okay.
your ministry.
Yes.
That's
It's your
fine.
ministry. Good job.
I mean,
You the good.
Can we really say that's my ministry? But
Oh gosh.
the thing is, like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes when people are singing up there, right, it's like a form of, well, of course, their relationship with God is like being strengthened in that moment. That's how I feel sometimes personally. Like, you're not even really caring about who's in the room.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
facts.
really, sometimes it's just you and God.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing it in front of like lots of people compared to like if you're doing it in your seat, it still feels the same.
Yeah.
The only reason why sometimes for some people it don't feel the same is because sometimes maybe you just want to be seen. But
Yeah.
like
Talk about it.
when you're really just trying to do it out of a pure motive and intent of like, God, I really want you to get the glory. Like, remove all the people that are in the room
Right.
right
Yeah.
now. Remove everybody that I can see in my eyesight and just let it be me and you.
Yeah.
Because right now I don't want to see the crowd. I just want to be in the secret place, right? I just want to be in the place where it's just you and me, where really the spotlight is on you, God.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
even on me.
Yes.
Like, I just want to worship you. I want to praise you. And then hopefully in your relationship being strengthened while you're up there, it's helping to strengthen other people's
Right.
relationship, right?
Yeah, I love that because it makes your thankfulness very personal. And
Right.
Yeah.
You're not doing it to be seen. So right before we end off, just to, what would you guys like to say to our Catch fans for this Thanksgiving?
Or
before-
catch fans.
Yeah.
Oh.
Those folks.
Why
Those
not
people.
catch viewers, you know? I don't know if they're fans, you know?
I hope they're fans
They're watching.
or subscribers.
And we're so thankful for you
We're so-
watching, by
yes.
the way.
Yes, we would like to thank you all in this Thanksgiving season. And if you felt like, man, you know, I think that happens sometimes, you know, people are like, man, Thanksgiving wasn't the best this year. I felt like I didn't have that much to be thankful for. Remember, you can be thankful in the little things, be thankful in the big things. Not every Thanksgiving has to be about your biological family. It's your found family.
Yeah.
It's us, you know, we're thankful for you. So you could be thankful for us too.
Yeah, if you had nobody else to spend the lovely Thanksgiving with, spend it with us. Watch this video maybe a couple times over.
Yeah.
Watch our other
A couple
videos.
times over.
Yeah, definitely.
You
Hey,
ta-
Thanksgiving is my favorite season. So,
Whoa,
you know,
whoa.
I love Thanksgiving.
Whoa,
so
whoa,
if you
whoa.
need me to rub off a little,
Not
you know,
Christmas?
no. If you
Come
want me to rub
on.
some of my Thanksgiving cheer onto you, I got you.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is a great
It's a wonderful
holiday,
time.
right? It's
It
not
is,
it's
but
not
to
for
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I mean, not to Christmas. Christmas?
No.
That's not to be a debate later. I might make it a debate for catch games. Which one's better, Thanksgiving or Christmas? You can drop it
You
down in the
know,
comments.
the people are gonna say Christmas. They're gonna try to
Yes,
give us all their
'cause they're
revelation on.
smart.
They're gonna try to give us all their deep revelation on Christmas, guys.
I'm thankful for Jesus
talking about the
coming to
holiday.
earth,
Okay,
so-
okay. Let's not
Absolutely.
get too feisty here. Okay.
We'll end up here. Thank you for spending some time with us on this lovely Thanksgiving Friday. Black Friday it's called, right?
Yeah.
This lovely Black Friday. Happy shopping to you. And we will
Catch you later.
thank you.